The story begins in a world once filled with magical creatures. Long ago, people used magic to do everything in their daily lives. But learning magic wasn't easy. It took years of practice to master it. So slowly, people stopped learning magic and chose an easier path, technology. Over time, magic completely disappeared from this world, and now everyone depends only on technology. Then we meet our hero, Ian Lightfoot, a shy teenager celebrating his 16th birthday. Ian wears his late father's old sweatshirt. His dad passed away before Ian was even born. When Ian comes downstairs, we see his mom, Laurel Lightfoot, working out. Ian's pet dragon, Blazy, starts messing around with him, and Laurel playfully sends the dragon away before wishing Ian a happy birthday. Ian tries to grab food from the fridge, but Laurel stops him, saying it's for his birthday party. Ian is surprised, because he doesn't really have friends. That's when Laurel reveals she invited kids from his science class. Just then, Ian's older brother Barley arrives and hugs him tightly. Barley is loud, overconfident, and full of energy, the complete opposite of quiet and nervous Ian. While Barley is joking around, Officer Bronco enters the house, a half-human, half-horse centaur. He's Laurel's new boyfriend. Because of his massive size, things start falling everywhere as he walks in. Ian, who's making toast, slips and falls, and in the chaos, a thread gets caught, tearing Ian's father's sweatshirt. That completely breaks Ian's heart. It's his birthday, and everything feels like it's going wrong. Later, Ian goes to a burger shop for breakfast. There, a man named Gaxton notices the sweatshirt and asks if Ian studies at the local college. Ian explains it belonged to his dad. That's when the man realizes Ian is the son of Wild and Lightfoot. He tells Ian that his father was a kind, confident, and respected person. Hearing good things about his dad makes Ian feel warm and happy inside. Inspired, Ian creates a bucket list, a list of things he wants to do to become more confident. At school, Ian acts awkward and nervous, but after class, he even goes to a driving lesson. Only one hard task remains: inviting people to his party. Ian struggles with what words to use, even writing them on his hand so he won't forget. Finally, he gathers the courage and invites everyone, and surprisingly, they all say yes. Ian tells them to come by bus, but suddenly Barley shows up in his van, blasting loud music and making a dramatic entrance. In the confusion, Ian accidentally smears ink all over his face. Trying to clean it only makes things worse. Panicking, Ian lies and says the party is canceled, then rushes home with Barley. Back home, Ian feels completely defeated. He starts crossing items off his bucket list. The last line reads, "Be like Dad." It's clear how deeply Ian is connected to a father he never even met. Ian listens to his dad's old cassette tapes, then quietly begins stitching the torn sweatshirt. That's when Laurel walks in. To cheer him up, she gives Ian his father's final gift, meant for his 16th birthday. Inside is a magical staff, a letter, a spell book, and a phoenix gem, a powerful gem that can bring back the dead for one single day. Both brothers are overwhelmed with excitement. They finally have a chance to meet their dad. Barley tries to cast the spell, but no matter how hard he tries, nothing happens. Disappointed and confused, they leave the room, not knowing that magic is about to change everything. Ian comes back to his room, holding the magical staff. He sits beside it, feeling sad and confused. Slowly, he starts reading the spell again, very carefully. Suddenly, the staff begins to glow. Ian gets shocked, but also hopeful. He continues the spell, and magic starts flowing out of the staff. Right in front of his eyes, the magic begins rebuilding his father's body. Barley hears the noise and rushes into the room. Seeing what's happening, he encourages Ian to finish the spell, but Ian gets nervous. He mispronounces a word, and suddenly the phoenix gem cracks. The magic stops. Only their father's legs are formed. Both brothers freeze. They have no idea what to do next. That's when Barley gets an idea. He pulls out his old wizard role-playing game card and suggests they visit the wizard's house. If they can find another phoenix gem, they can complete the spell and bring their dad back, but only for 24 hours, because the spell works for just one single day. Without wasting time, the brothers load their half-alive dad into Barley's van and head toward the wizard's house. Barley drives, while Ian, excited and emotional, starts writing a new bucket list. A list of everything he wants to do with his dad once he's fully back. Barley tells Ian to practice other spells from the spellbook. Ian tries, but no magic comes out, so Ian places a doll on the upper half of their dad's body so he doesn't look completely unfinished. Meanwhile, back at home, Ian's mom, Laurel, enters his room. She sees a note on the door and realizes both boys have gone somewhere. Inside the room, everything is a mess. Seeing the game cards scattered around, Laurel immediately understands where they're headed. She grabs her car and drives off to find her sons. Back with Ian and Barley, they finally reach the wizard's house, but when they step inside, they're completely shocked. It's not a wizard's place at all. It's a restaurant. The owner is Corey the dragon. Ian and Barley ask Corey about the Phoenix gem. She tells them it was just a part of an old kid's adventure game, a diamond-shaped fake gem. But when Barley asks about a real Phoenix gem map, Corey admits she knows about it, yet refuses to give it to them. Ian tries to convince her, but Corey loses her temper and suddenly breathes fire. The entire place catches fire. Everyone runs outside in panic. Angry and frustrated, Corey throws the map on the ground. Ian rushes to grab it, but the map burns to ashes. They all escape the place, but their half-alive dad is still inside. A huge pillar starts falling toward him. Without thinking, Ian raises the staff and chants a spell. Magic bursts out and he saves his father. Back in the van, Ian feels crushed. The map was their only hope, but then Barley smiles and reveals that he secretly copied the map earlier. According to the map, the Phoenix gem is located at Raven's Point. They decide to take the highway to get there faster. Meanwhile, Laurel reaches the burned restaurant, now a crime scene. She asks about her children. Corey tells her everything and mentions a dangerous ancient curse. Worried, Laurel insists on going with her, but the police refuse. They think Corey is unstable and need to question her. That's when Laurel gets clever. She pretends to be a doctor, gets Corey released into her custody, and takes her along to find her sons. Back on the road, Ian and Barley's van runs out of gas. Barley remembers a spell that can make objects grow bigger. He tells Ian to use it on the gas can. Ian starts casting the spell, but Barley keeps interrupting him in excitement. The result? The gas can stays the same, but Barley shrinks to a tiny size. Barley laughs and tells Ian, every spell has a bad side effect. Ian places tiny Barley into his pocket and heads out to get gas. As soon as they reach the gas station, chaos breaks loose. A group of wild sprites on bikes suddenly arrive and start creating trouble everywhere. While Ian is filling up the tank, Barley gets into an argument with a sprite his own size. The sprites get furious and charge toward them. Panicking, Ian grabs his dad's legs and his brother and runs back to the van. The car is locked. Barley slips inside through a half-open window and unlocks the doors from inside. But now Barley is still small, so Ian has to drive. The angry sprites chase them down. Ian has only just learned how to drive, and he has never driven on a highway before. He's nervous, confused, and scared. But Barley keeps guiding him, telling him what to do, step by step. Slowly, Ian gains confidence and starts driving like an action hero. The sprites jump inside the van and attack, but suddenly the spell wears off and Barley returns to normal size. Ian takes a sharp turn toward the north way, finally escaping the sprites. Just then, the police pull them over for speeding. In panic, Ian uses a spell he just learned, and both brothers temporarily transform into centaurs. They confuse the officer with excuses, but the spell soon begins to fade. Before anyone can react, they run away. The officers notice strange footprints, not horse tracks, but elf tracks. Suspicious, they call Officer Bronco and inform him everything. Meanwhile, Laurel asks Corey about the curse. Corey explains it's a guardian curse. Anyone who takes the Phoenix gem will be attacked by a powerful stone dragon, and that dragon can only be defeated using a special sword. They go to a weapons shop to buy the sword, but seeing Laurel's desperation, the shopkeeper demands a ridiculous price. At that moment, Bronco calls Laurel and tells her his officers spotted the boys heading north. Corey loses her temper, knocks the shopkeeper unconscious, grabs the sword, and they drive off together. Now Bronco also starts chasing them. Back with Ian and Barley, they're driving through Rocky Mountain terrain toward Raven's Point. The road is so rough that the van's bumper breaks off and falls behind. When Bronco passes through the same road, he sees the bumper and realizes exactly where the boys went. Ian and Barley stop near a deep canyon. Morning has arrived. Across the canyon, they spot a collapsed ancient bridge. Barley tells Ian to cast a spell to cross it. Ian focuses, and suddenly an invisible bridge appears. Seeing Ian scared, Barley ties a rope around his waist to encourage him. Ian steps forward nervously and immediately panics when he slips. Barley pulls him back up and reminds him to stay confident. This time, Ian trusts himself and walks forward again. Halfway across, the rope comes loose, but Ian doesn't notice. Near the end, he looks back, realizes the rope isn't attached anymore, and starts falling. At the last second, he grabs the rocks and pulls himself up. Ian lowers the invisible bridge, and Barley drives the van across safely. They finally reach Raven's Point. Just then, Bronco arrives and offers to help them, but the brothers don't trust him. They trick him and escape again. Angry, Bronco calls for backup. Multiple police vehicles begin chasing them. Ian tries to use magic to collapse the rocks and block the road, but the spell fails. With no other option, Barley floors the accelerator and smashes through the rocks. They escape, but the van is completely destroyed. Following the map's directions, they move from one Raven statue to another. At the final statue, its beak points downward. Ian notices a reflection on a stone, a brick with a water symbol. Realizing the clue, they cross the river and enter a hidden cave. Ian lights the cave using magic, then enlarges a bag of chips to turn it into a boat. At last, they believe they've reached their destination, but suddenly, it's a trap. a massive giant jelly cube drops down and attacks them. Ian uses magic to save them from the giant jelly cube, and they barely manage to escape. But suddenly, they fall into a large underground tank that starts filling up with water. As the water rises, panic sets in. With the help of their dad, they press a button at the bottom of the tank, and the lid above opens. Relieved, they climb out, only to freeze in shock. They've somehow ended up back at Ian's school. Ian completely loses it. He yells at Barley, accusing him of being overconfident and ruining everything. Time is almost over now. Heartbroken, Ian tells Barley that he just wants to spend the last few minutes alone with his dad. Ian walks up a hill with his father and pulls out his bucket list. He starts reading the things he always wanted to do with his dad. And then Ian realizes something shocking. Every single thing on the list has already been completed. Not with his dad, but with Barley. That's when it finally hits him. His brother has always been there for him, protecting him, guiding him, loving him, just like a father would. At the same time, Laurel is rushing toward them. Back at the school fountain, Barley notices water flowing inside. He places the brick piece from Raven's Point into the fountain, and suddenly the fountain opens. Inside it is the Phoenix gem. As soon as Barley grabs the gem, dark magic erupts. Objects around them come alive and combine into a massive stone dragon. The giant dragon attacks. Just then, Laurel arrives, flying in on Corey, wielding the magical sword. She attacks the dragon, slicing off its wings. The dragon crashes to the ground, and for a moment it seems dead. Meanwhile, Ian and Barley use the gem to fully bring their father back. But suddenly, the dragon comes back to life. The sword falls and gets stuck in the stone. Laurel tries to pull it out. At the same time, Ian steps forward with his staff. This time he's not scared. He casts spell after spell, fighting with full confidence. Laurel finally pulls out the sword and throws it toward Ian. Using magic, Ian delivers the final blow. The dragon collapses and turns back into rubble, but Ian gets trapped inside the stones. At that exact moment, their father is fully restored, and time runs out. He begins to fade away. From inside the rubble, Ian watches his dad from a distance. After everything they went through, Ian never gets to meet him face to face. But this time, Ian doesn't feel sad, because he realizes something beautiful. He already had his father with him all along, in the form of Barley. Epilogue. Sometime later, the world slowly begins to rediscover magic. Laurel is happy with her boyfriend Bronco. Ian, now confident and smiling, teaches magic to kids at school. He finally feels like he belongs. As a thank you, Ian gifts Barley a brand new van. Barley is overjoyed. The two brothers hop in, use magic one last time, and ride off together. Some stories make us smile, some hit right in the feels. This one did both. Subscribe for more magical journeys, and share it with a friend who'd love this story. Because good stories are better when you don't watch them alone.